Hi, this is Gary with MacMost Now. On today's episode, let's look at formatting cells in iWork numbers. So here I am in numbers, and I've got a cell here with a number in it. Now I want to add some formatting to it. One of the most basic examples is maybe force some decimal places. So for instance, instead of seeing 4, see 4.0. If the next number is 5.7, you can see how I've got two different formats here. It'd be nice to have them be about the same. So I can do that in the toolbar here. If you don't see the formatting toolbar, you can go to View and Hide and Show Format Bar. Now, if I have that cell selected, I can use these buttons here to simply add more decimal places that are automatically there, even if they're zeros, or take them away. And you can see I can even do that here on this cell below. I can take it away and I'll round it from 5.7 to 6. If I want to have it be uniform for the entire column, I can select the column and I can use those buttons there. Now I also have some easier format buttons right there. For instance, if I wanted to format these numbers as currency, I click on the $ there and it does that. I can then go and do it as percentage if I want. I also have a pull down menu with a bunch of different options here. So for instance, I can even do fractions. I can select fractions and say go up to just one digit of fractions, and you can see it actually puts 5 and 5/7 there. And I can add a new number now that's been formatted like that. So let's say if I do 7.5, I can see it formats it and shows it as 7.5. Now, in addition to using this little pull down menu here, I could also go to View, Show Inspector. That'll bring up the inspector here, and I can look at cell format, and I get the same options here. Sometimes it's just easier to use it in an inspector. So I can change to different things here. For instance, I can go to duration and have it set for hours. So the 7.5 becomes 7 hours and 30 minutes. I can slide this along here and actually change that if that was supposed to be, if I want it to be formatted minutes and seconds or days or even weeks. So I have a lot of different options there. Even pull down and change the format completely to something like that. One interesting one here is I can change numerical system, so I can actually go, say, to another base. Like, for instance, I can go to base 16 for hexadecimal. If I enter in a number in like 42, I can see that it changes to 2A there. And I can even go down and change to base 2 for binary. Under currency here, I've got a lot more options. I can choose the symbol and number of decimal places, choose to have it conditionally changed to red if it's a negative number. So, for instance, if I enter in here, I give 9, see it does it like that. And I've got the ability to add thousand separators as well, do it in accounting style with the $ all the way over on the left. You can also set formatting for dates. So I have a list of dates here. Go to date and time, and I can choose from one of these many different date formats here, depending upon what I want. One cool thing you can do is you can choose a cell, and you can set the format to a stepper or a slider. So a stepper, I can give a minimum, maximum, and increment, and a way to display it as a general format there. And when I'm done, if I go over to this one here, instead of, see, I can just edit the number there. Here I don't edit, I actually would go up or down using these arrow keys. Likewise, if I change it to a slider, I get the same controls here, but if I wanted to actually change the value, I can actually slide it up and down. That slider only appears when I've selected that number. Very useful if you're making spreadsheets so you can do computations and you want to be able to play with some of the numbers. Another thing you can do is you can select a cell and set several values to appear in a pop-up menu. So for instance here, just 1, 2, 3, let's change that to 10, 20, 30. So perhaps there's several different ways you can represent a number. You can add more, so we'll add 40, and then when I select this cell here, I can actually choose one of these values. Now, let's take a look at something called conditional formatting. As an example, we've got 4 numbers here and the total there, the sum of those 4 numbers. And suppose maybe this is receivables and payables, and I want to get kind of an alert there with this being in red and in bold when it's a negative number, and being in green when it's a positive number. So let me select it, and under Cell Format I can click Conditional Format, Show Rules, and it brings up this dialog right here. Now I can choose a rule, and what I'm going to choose in this case is if it's less than 0, and then I'm going to edit the rule here, set the text to red, make it bold, and done. And I can see it's a negative number there. So what happens if I would change a number like, say, this 99 to 101, and now it's a positive number? You can see that it isn't red. Now I can add an additional rule here, select that cell, add another one, and say if it's greater than or equal to 0, then it's not going to be bold, it's just going to be a green color. So now when I change a number here and make it a positive result, you can see the conditional formatting changes that cell automatically. You can also use conditional formatting on a variety of other things. Like, for instance, in this column here I have a list of dates. I can choose a rule that if the date is, say, in the last 7 days, then change the text to purple, and done. And you can see that those two dates, which are in the last 7 days, are purple, and then I can change it to be, if it's in the next 7 days, do the same thing. So I end up basically with the dates being highlighted depending upon how close they are to today's date. Now if I close the spreadsheet and open it up again a week later, it will actually show me different dates highlighted here. So I can kind of create a chart that always highlights the dates that are close to the ones that are today. Want more video tutorials? Just go to MacMost.com, click on the videos link at the top of the page, and then you can view all of the hundreds of MacMost videos by category.